Imagine waking up to the headline, "Vladimir Putin dead." What would happen next? The moment such news breaks, a wave of shock would ripple across the globe. Vladimir Putin, the man who has held the reins of Russia for over 2 decades, gone. The man who has been a constant, albeit controversial figure on the global stage, no longer present. The suddenness and the magnitude of such an event would leave the world stunned, speechless. In Russia, this shock could swiftly turn into chaos. Putin's death would create a void, a power vacuum, that would need to be filled quickly to maintain stability. But who could step into the shoes of a man who has been at the helm for so long, who has shaped Russia's path with an iron fist? Consider the current state of affairs. Putin's influence in Russia is far-reaching. He presides over a vast country, the world's largest by landmass, with a population of over 140 million people. His decisions have shaped the nation's politics, its economy, its international relations, and the daily lives of its citizens. Internationally, Putin's actions have often been divisive, causing rifts with Western nations while forming alliances with others. His policies have impacted global oil prices, sparked conflicts, and even influenced elections in other countries. His death would not only disrupt the order within Russia, but it could also drastically alter the dynamics of international politics. The power vacuum left by Putin's demise could potentially lead to a scramble for control, not only within Russia, but also on the global stage. It could spark a new era of uncertainty, of unpredictability. It could lead to a shift in alliances, to changes in global power structures. In essence, it could reshape the world as we know it. The world as we know it could drastically change in the wake of Putin's death. Putin's death could trigger a power struggle within Russia, but who would emerge victorious? The answer depends on several factors, such as the political climate, the state of the economy, and the prevailing mood of the Russian people at that particular point in time. In a scenario where Putin's demise leaves a power vacuum, the military might attempt to seize control. Historically, militaries have often stepped in during times of political uncertainty, seeing themselves as the custodians of national security and order. In Russia's case, this could mean a continuation of Putin's assertive foreign policy, with a potentially even more hardline approach. However, such a takeover could also lead to internal unrest, as not all factions within the military or the wider populace might support it. Alternatively, Putin's death could provide an opportunity for a democratic uprising. Russia has a vibrant civil society and a growing middle class that might push for greater political participation and reforms. In this case, we could see a more liberal Russia, willing to engage in dialogue with the West, and possibly even a shift towards a more market-oriented economy. Yet the path to democracy is often fraught with instability and uncertainty, and there's no guarantee that such a transition would be smooth or successful. A third possibility is the rise of another strongman, someone from inside Putin's inner circle who might carry on his legacy. This could mean a continuation of Putin's policies, both domestic and international. However, this new leader might lack Putin's charisma and political savvy, leading to a weaker and potentially more volatile Russia. But what would these scenarios mean for the Russian people and the world? A military takeover might lead to greater repression and a more aggressive foreign policy. A democratic uprising could bring about much-needed reforms but might also lead to instability. The rise of another strongman could mean business as usual, or it could lead to a period of political uncertainty. No matter who takes the reins, Russia's future would be uncertain. How would the world react to Putin's death? The response from the international community would be as complex as the man himself. Putin's demise would send shockwaves across the globe, prompting a flurry of reactions from international leaders, reshaping global politics, economies, and alliances. In the United States, the reaction would likely be mixed. On one hand, Putin's passing could be seen as an opportunity to reset strained relations, with hopes of a more democratic Russia. On the other hand, there would be concern about the uncertainty and potential instability left in Putin's wake. The US would have to balance its desire for change with the need for stability, all while navigating the geopolitical minefield that is post-Putin Russia. Across the Atlantic, the European Union would face its own set of challenges. The EU has grappled with Russia over issues ranging from Ukraine to energy politics. Putin's death could bring a chance for the EU to engage with a new Russian leadership. However, the power vacuum could also lead to increased tensions, especially if a more hardline successor comes to power. The EU would have to tread carefully, ensuring that any changes do not destabilize the delicate balance of power in Europe. As for China, Putin's death would likely be met with apprehension. Russia and China have grown closer under Putin, bound by their shared desire to counterbalance US global influence. A new Russian leader could either strengthen this alliance or throw it into question, depending on their stance towards China. This uncertainty could lead to a period of flux in Sino-Russian relations, with potentially far-reaching implications for global geopolitics. Beyond these major powers, Putin's death would prompt reactions from all corners of the globe. Countries with close ties to Russia might worry about their future relations, while those at odds with Putin might see an opportunity for change. The global markets would undoubtedly react, with potential ripple effects on economies worldwide. In essence, the international community would find itself in uncharted territory. The reactions would be as varied as they are unpredictable, shaped by each country's relationship with Russia and their stakes in its future. The global response to Putin's death could redefine international relations. Could Putin's death lead to increased freedom for dissenters in Russia? This is a question that has been echoed in the minds of many, especially those who have been closely following the dynamics of political dissent within the country. Let's delve into this by first discussing the potential impact on opposition movements within Russia. The death of Putin could indeed open up the political sphere for increased freedom and influence for dissenters. It could present an opportunity for suppressed voices to finally be heard, for dissidents to rise, and for a more democratic order to take shape. In the absence of Putin's formidable presence, the opposition might be able to seize the moment and emerge as a formidable force in itself. This could lead to a shift in the political landscape, where the opposition is no longer just a minor player, but a significant one that can shape the policies and future direction of the country. However, there's also the possibility of a harsher crackdown on dissent. A power vacuum post-Putin could lead to a scramble for control among the political elite, who might resort to suppressing opposition movements even more brutally to consolidate power. Fear and uncertainty could lead to a tightening of the reins, resulting in an even more restricted space for dissent. A case in point here is Alexei Navalny, a prominent opposition figure who has been a thorn in Putin's side. Navalny's reported death in a Russian prison under unclear circumstances has raised eyebrows and sparked international outrage. His case highlights the dangerous path that dissenters in Russia tread. Whether his fate would be the fate of other dissenters in a post-Putin era is something that remains to be seen. In essence, the impact of Putin's death on dissent in Russia could swing either way. It could either usher in a new era of increased freedom for opposition movements, or lead to a more intense crackdown on dissent. The fate of dissent in Russia could hang in the balance. The death of Putin would unquestionably shake the world, but the extent of the changes is impossible to predict. We've taken a hypothetical journey through the potential aftermath of an event that would no doubt send shockwaves through the global community. Let's revisit what we've discovered. Firstly, in the immediate aftermath of Putin's death, a power struggle would likely ensue within Russia. Various factions in the government could vie for control, possibly leading to internal conflict and instability. This would be a crucial period for the nation, with the potential to shape its future direction and international standing. Turning our eyes to the global stage, reactions would undoubtedly be mixed. Some countries might see an opportunity for change, while others could fear the uncertainty that comes with such a significant shift in power. Sanctions, diplomatic relations, and international alliances would all hang in the balance, potentially reshaping the geopolitical landscape. And let's not forget the impact on dissent within Russia. As we've seen with the tragic case of Alexei Navalny, opposition to Putin's regime is a dangerous path. Yet, his death could either quell dissent through fear or ignite a spark of revolution, inspiring others to take up the cause. However, amidst all these possibilities, we must remember that predicting the exact effects of such a monumental event is a challenging, if not impossible, task. The variables are numerous, the stakes are high, and the outcomes are far from certain. One thing is certain: the world would hold its breath, waiting to see what comes next in the wake of Putin's death.